Hey everybody, it's John at Restoration X Cycle, and today, as promised, I would do a video on how to restore a tank. So first off, I'm going to give two disclaimers. The first is this is just how I restore tanks. There are numerous videos on YouTube how to restore tanks. Everybody has their own way of doing it. This is just my way of doing it. And each time I restore a tank, I try something new and different. Just to see if I can get faster and better, make it look better with each time. So that's first disclaimer. The second disclaimer is we're dealing with 40-year-old plastic here. You could go to all this work of restoring it, and you put gas in it, and it could crack. So a high percentage do crack. So keep that in mind. The tank I'm going to work on today is for a 1977 IT400. Now I have two tanks for that bike, and one here you see is I scraped away, and you see the bright blue versus the kind of the green up here. So kind of the same thing this side. I scraped away because over time the IT tanks, they turn real green down at the bottom from the fuel. And this one is not too bad. So this was my other choice to use, and obviously it's a lot more oxidized, excuse me. So I'm going to go with this other tank because it's going to be a little bit less work for me. But this still is a good tank if you just want to spend a lot more time on it. So these IT tanks are not available through Clark. They do make a tank to fit this bike, but the shape is completely wrong, and it's we want to keep these bikes as original as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and give it my best effort on how to restore this tank. First step is to remove your mount, leave one on, and I will tell you why later, and then remove your petcock. So as for a start right off the bat, I've already started scraping the lower section because I wanted to see if it was a heavy green tint to it. It's not. So when you have a single edge razor blade, when I drag this across the tank, we're dragging, not digging, because we're going to take off a fine layer of plastic to get down to a better surface to start sanding on. So this is just, if you start digging with this razor blade, you're going to cause divots, and then you're going to be doing a lot of sanding. And we want to take off as little of this material as possible. Hence, it will keep it from cracking. So maybe just drag across. And you do it to the discolored areas. I mean, we're just, by scraping, we're saving ourselves a lot of sanding time. And we don't want, again, we don't want to dig, because then we're causing craters or divots in the plastic. And once again, a lot of people say, don't do it like this. Don't use a razor blade. Well, again, people can do it how they want to do it, right? So, I'm not comfortable taking any more off than that. Now, there is some discoloration still in the tank. That's where the sanding will come in. So we took a nice layer off. We got down to a more manageable surface to sand on. So what I'm going to do next, and I'll stop the video so that you don't watch me sanding for hours on end. Wet sanding. I'm going to take this little container, fill it with water, and I'm going to start off with 220 wet sanding. Then I'm going to move to 400, 800, 1,000, 2,000. Then we have 3,000 through 7,000 grit paper. So yes, a lot of sanding. So that's what I'm going to do next. Now, what I'll do is I'm going to start with my 220, and then I'll restart and I'll sand it and I'll restart the video and show you what it looks like. Basically, it's going to make this whole tank look dull and kind of a white finish. Now, we're not going to worry about the shine and the finish till the very end. That's when the fine sandpaper comes into play. So, of course, then after we sand it, get all the scratches out and the discoloration out, then we're going to go back and buff. Buffing is polishing and or trying to get your shine back. That is the hardest part on doing these tanks, is getting the shine back. I can always get them to a kind of a satin finish usually, but it's the trick. The trick is to get the gloss. That's the ideal thing, is to get the gloss each time on these tanks. So I'm gonna go ahead and get busy sanding, and then I'll restart the video once I get done with the first sanding, and then kind of work my way and show you where I'm at each time, instead of just boring you sitting here hour after hour sanding. So anyway, stay tuned, and we'll catch you on the next video.